Ah, ah. Rah. Mm.
Morning guys, Gremlins and Boka, they're hopefully not completely insane after yesterday. Bokath 1 pat, Bokath 1 patty, Bokath 1 pat.
Not completely insane, maybe. I might not be. There we go. I'm learning things, chat! I'm learning things. Alright. Hi, come on. Right. So what's new with everyone in chat? You doing things fun? Fun things? All the greatest things? Hopefully all the greatest things. Ah! But anyways, we have bad news on the doorstep, chat. Bad news on the doorstep. Bad news on the doorstep. Bad news on the doorstep. We need to address the dangers.
If I asked you to give me...
If I asked you to give me a pickle, would you do it? I'm just kidding. It's Penguin, guys. It's Penguin. We got some bad news. Bad news on the doorstep.
Your ID to watch this video, provide some form of
Worse, Ari, worse.
identification, what would you tell me? I hope your answer would be a resounding no, telling me to go eat dirt. Because
should be your answer. Or a alternative would be no. Fuck yourself.
Not just like some kind of innocent, annoying question. That's legitimately just an assault on your freedom. It's an extremely scary and concerning direction the online space is heading. No longer is this...
Are we not loud enough for you guys?
It's just the wacky, wild west of the World Wide Web, where Timmy Turner once surfed on an email in Fairly Odd Parents. Now, it is actively being censored. We're seeing that happen a lot. Censorship is spiraling, especially in video games, with Collective Shout getting Steam and itch.io, two separate platforms, to remove hundreds and hundreds of games that they deemed highly harmful and, you know, deplorable. So they had the Visa and MasterCard come forward, threaten to pull out of them and bully them into submission. They got them in the fucking headlock. So then they just went belly up and played ball, removing all of these titles, which, by the way, was not just freaky Gooner games.
It was not just freaky Gooner games. I think a game you guys remember is Mouthwashing. It's gone now. You can't play it.
In itch.io's case, people have learned over the last few days, tons and tons of games have been de-indexed that didn't have any porn in them at all. So it wasn't just like rape and incest weirdo games. It was any game, or mini games included, that are just darker themes, that have more like...
Horror games are nice. So if you like horror games, you better...
adult themes in them with no, like, sexual content. It's absurd, and it's something everyone could have seen coming. Anyone with a functioning frontal lobe could tell you that censorship is not something to be celebrated. When you try and target low-hanging fruit, something easy like gross, you know, disgusting porn games that are all about, like, incest and shit, you'll get a lot of clapping seals like, yippee, you saved us. But what they don't realize is that it doesn't stop there. That is just the beginning. That just opens the door. So that way they can censor even more. It is absurd.
You've allowed it. That's why I said those were necessary evils. Fear and Hunger, I don't think did survive Walk-On. Because that's literally everything. That fits all of the... I can go check, but I'm pretty sure if Mouthwashing got hit, Fear and Hunger got hit. Thank you for the flash serving. You missed... The world going to crap right now.
Absurd and out of control, but I'm going off on a tangent. The point is, the internet is under attack in a large way across the board, not just in gaming. I'm sure all of you have seen what's happening in the UK right now with their Online Safety Act, where now to access a myriad of content, you need to provide your identification. That's not acceptable. Just like we were all taught growing up, never take candy from a stranger, don't talk to strangers, say no to that kind of shit. You should also be taught to say no to this too. You should
It is?
not
That's
be
actually very
providing
surprising.
your ID willy-nilly online. That is not something that should just be loosey-goosey, no care in the world. Oh, here's all my personal identification. Here, yeah, take it. That way I can access fucking Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Pokemon will be next. After horror games are gone, the next thing is anything that has to do with violence. Fighting games. Super Smash Bros. I'm telling you, if we don't fight back now, we are screwed.
By the way, Wikipedia is actually affected by this. Now, in some cases, it's
That's what's hilarious. Wikipedia is affected.
not providing an ID, it's instead providing your face. It will scan your face, so you're giving them your biometric data in that case. Again, big time no-no. I shouldn't be the one to come in here and teach you why privacy is important, but
You're fine,
hope
Koma.
somebody has. This is not a good thing. So in some of these processes, it's not always required to give your full ID and your fucking credit card statements or anything. Instead, some may ask to scan your face and everything. Also still frowned upon. You still shouldn't do that either. This bill was paraded around like it was some righteous, legislation that was aimed at protecting kids from accessing harmful content online, specifically.
And I tried to tell my parents about this, and only my mom figured out after I explained to her the problem. My dad just rolled his eyes and said, at first both of them were like, it kind of sounds like we need it.
Porn. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've got your thinking caps on, if you're activating neurons, can probably recognize a pattern since basically the beginning of time, the beginning of the internet here, where porn is always used as this ultimate boogeyman. It's the Galactus level threat that they always have to pass legislation to combat. And to people that don't want to do any thinking and would rather have all their thoughts put into their head by the government on what they should and should not support, it sounds like a nice notion. You don't want kids having access to harmful content like porn online. That makes sense. But the second you make like George and get a bit curious and, God forbid, get into your ponder stance and start thinking and look into these type of pushes, you will recognize the goal is not to protect kids. It's not to protect anyone from anything. These are called Trojan horses, where they push these through under a false pretense like this with so many huge detrimental consequences attached to it that impede on your freedom. They use this idea of protecting kids from harmful content as a way of getting this bill across the line that has really bad stuff in it. There is nothing good about handing over your freedoms. And it's even more sad how few people even recognize it happening in front of their face. And even beyond that, even more pathetic is the people that are happy about it, that don't mind giving away all of their personal information.
Wagon.
This act
Wagon.
was not about protecting children from accessing porn. It did not just require ID to be provided for porn sites.
It's going to require ID for everything. You go on the internet, you're going to have to flash your ID. They're going to know exactly what you do at all times. And here's the worst part, it's not even, the government's doing it too. So we have to fight back against it.
It was required for anything that they deemed maybe potentially opening up children to harmful content. That includes Discord features. It includes some forums. It includes Twitter. It includes Reddit. Anything that could even be moderately argued opens them up to like adult content or harmful subjects is hit by this, requiring them to have age verification in place where you will need to provide an ID to prove.
Which, by the way, Steam is going to be having this. And it's gonna get worse if we allow it here.
Prove you are 18 years or older in order to grant access to that. You know the whole meme of like, oi, you got a license to be breathing that air? Where it's all about like how over the top the UK is with this kind of bullshit. Well, now it has become beyond parody, where you actually need a fucking license to send Discord shit. You need a license for Wikipedia articles, basically. Wikipedia is being hit by this, by the way. And they're trying to plead their case here about how detrimental this...
This will make it where Wikipedia can't run. By the way. Oh yeah, Twitch will go downhill completely. And there won't be any other streaming sites either because they're all going to be affected. Do you think the average person wants to show their ID just to watch a stream? You know how we generally get around 20, 30 people to watch? We'll be lucky to get 7.
Is trying to bring some kind of sanity and reason back to the UK here in some capacity. I know this word gets tossed around a lot by a bunch of Redditors when tipping their fedora at anything they don't like, but this actually is dystopian. This is preposterous. This was never designed to protect kids from accessing harmful things like porn. It was designed for control and surveillance of their citizens. And it's being proposed in the US as well. If you thought this was an exclusive thought process...
That's why we're watching this. It's being proposed in the US. You need to fight it now. You need to start calling these centers and be like, no, no. Stop it.
Just for the UK, you're very wrong. America would love to get their fingers in our buttholes as well, and we now have the Kids Online Safety Act that...
I love how it claims it's the safety of children. No, it's not.
It has been reintroduced in late May that...
It's been reintroduced, by the way.
Aims to do something very similar here.
This isn't even our leader doing this. This is the senators.
It's a very common tactic where these proposed legislations will have things like, we have to protect the children. You know, another classic meme, think of the children. Well, it's a meme for a reason because it is the go-to strategy for a lot of politicians because it's very easy to drum up support under this false pretense. It is not about protecting kids.
What's hilarious is, I kind of thought this might start happening. Because my best friend has, one of my cousins, he literally gives his kids the iPads all the time and stuff. And I'm like, I know you're busy a lot, but no.
This isn't actually trying to stop kids from accessing porn. It is a convenient way for them to control your information and spy on you freely, openly, and easily. It is all about surveillance, control, and censorship. And
Here's the problem. They're claiming it'll stop kids from seeing porn. You and I both know, everyone knows this, that will not stop. If a kid wants to see something, a kid will see something. It's up to the parents to stop that. It is not up to the government. The government has no right. The government is not a substitute parent.
I can do is sit here and cross my fingers and toes while kissing a rabbit's foot that we are lucky enough that this will be shot down as it has in the past in this country. But it's...
Oh, also, by the way, if you're thinking, I'll just use a VPN, you can't. They're trying to ban VPNs too.
Not guaranteed.
So there will be no anonymity.
Obviously, most people don't want kids accessing porn. And in an age where information can spread so quickly, so wrongly, there's a lot of people that might...
My mom tried to say, and then I explained to her that doesn't work. It was mostly to stop, like, predators and stuff. And I told her, Mom, here's the problem. There's already ways that circumnavigate this for predators. There are kids games that would never require the ID and stuff. Those are already hubs for these people. The answer to that is GMs, which are already a thing. They're invisible characters that walk around frequented areas. They see all the chats. They stop that. It's hard, but they do.
Hear the tiddlywinks about this bill, think it's doing something that it's not, and support it. That's very possible.
Coma,
There's never been a...
You're not asking the right question. What do they get out of banning VPNs? They get guaranteed location and guaranteed they know who it is that's accessing. That, and they get to control what you see and watch.
An easier time to get some really damaging freedom overturning bills passed than right now, because you control so much information so easily, and most people don't bother to spend even a fucking iota of a second researching any of the topics. It's just a really concerning mix of ingredients here for like the possible perfect storm of no longer having an internet that you can access without providing identification. For some reason, it's become highly accepted and normalized that the internet is expected to cater to children being on it completely unsupervised. And while that does happen, that is the fault of the parent, and the blame lies solely on the parent refusing to do their job in raising their own fucking kids. It is not the internet's...
100%! It's on the parents! Stop making excuses. Stop being a child. And whining that you have to do something. Don't let the government just control everything.
That's how it used to be.
Well, you want to know the crazy part, Lock On? It stopped recording, and I don't know when it started. Stopped. Give me a sec. Do you think you'll be able to grab the pieces you need? So I was hoping to have this one out today. Should be able to grab it? Okay.
And that's how you had normal people develop. Not like this. Not under the thumb...
Here's the thing. So many people grew up just fine. Why are we adding this? What does this help? It helps nothing. It does nothing. It only adds censorship. That's all it's doing.
Of the government sticking its nose in your business. It is terrifying. Why have we just gotten to the point where we excuse bad parenting and instead force the internet to be the ones to be the parental figure, where everything is like babied to ensure a kid doesn't accidentally access fucking Wikipedia or something? It's completely preposterous. And on top of that, it's downright dangerous for everybody. You shouldn't be providing...
Maybe don't celebrate that you're an iPad kid.
Providing your identification and all of this data like this. It's just not good. And I really hope we don't see it come to America. I wanted to put all of this on your plate here, put it on your radar, because this is not something good. Don't let the propaganda fool you. It is not aiming to actually protect anybody or anything. It is solely for control and surveillance, trying to get more data from you to monitor your activities and ensure you are the drone they want you to be.
You will become a drone if this happens. You think you won't, but slowly over time, you will slowly start to just accept things as they are. Because they will make sure you see nothing else. And I explained to Mom that this is just a way that they can silence you and stuff. Because if they determine they don't like your viewpoints or something, when you go to authenticate your age, they can just be like, oh, we can't authenticate your age. And stuff like that. They can do that. You can call them and beg all you want. They'll be able to just make it very, very, very difficult for you to do anything.
This is not a good thing. So
Very
yeah,
bad
I
thing.
Talk about that a little bit. That's it. See ya.
Nexus mods will and must follow the law. Nexus mods will and must follow the law.
By the way, yeah, mods, the mod site, it's already being affected. It's going to make it where you won't see competing sites pop up ever again either. It's going to affect everything. No. 2-2, you do not. Alright, let me start recording this then.
Nexus mods will and must follow the law. That's a direct quote, it's a fun quote, and it's also why Discord currently wants to scan your face for seeing anything not safe.
Discord tried to ask me this for a few seconds a few days ago. And I was like, the hell? And then it disappeared. They're already implementing it. If we get the vote happen here, we'll have to do it. I bet you anything Discord and these other places are only going to do it when it comes to UK-based thing right now. But if it gets voted here in America, it'll be everywhere. All the censorship, all the control. I'm going to go grab a Dr. Pepper real quick, guys. Hey, baby. The puppy is laying down. Alright. I am Irish. If I remember correctly, I am 70% Irish. Basically everything to make me super white. My mom was, I believe, full-blooded Irish. That or she was like 90% Irish or something. I can't remember. I do know that I'm like 70% Irish though. Right. Continue!
For work, even if it's just to me. And the thing is, this is not scaremongering, this is not dystopian fiction, it's actually happening right now, and on July 25th, it will become law. Law that's actually got teeth. As an example, Steam could lose $2.5 billion over a simple checkbox. That's 10%.
And here's the funny thing about this. The UK just basically killed EULAs. Because any lawyer can now point at what they said to get a EULA thrown out in court. Everyone knows New York is a trash fire. Like, I'm so glad my cousin got moved out of there so far back. But the issue here is that, we need to stop it now. Now would be the time.
Of their global revenue, and it's all because they ask, are you over 13? Instead of scanning your ID or scanning your face. But even if
yeah, and the UK's little state thing said, oh, that's not legally binding. What is a EULA except for a checkbox? That's one tiny bit of, like, kernel of good news. Not the best, like, craziest good news, but it's something. But I'm getting beside myself.
before the law goes online, I have a totally different example of this literally killing a game. Here's one called Urban Dead. It's an online zombie survival game. It ran...
I love these type of games. This was it's a browser game where you would tell your character what to do and you'd like go around and stuff. And this one was to fight zombies. I used to play one that was a fantasy world. Game died because I can't do that.
for 19 years, then the Online Safety Act killed it. Not hackers, not bankruptcy, no, fear of an $18 million fine. And that is what the Nexus mod owner was talking about when he said that basically, the law is the law, and the site must follow it. Sites will need to fundamentally restructure themselves and change.
We don't. There's actually been talk of going to war with the UK. Because of some of, like, the bombastically, like, crazy rules and, like, authoritarian they're being.
Change how audiences interact and share content online, because if they don't, they will face financial obliteration. And make no mistake, this may be starting in the UK, but it is already spreading. The internet is changing, and the deadline for compliance is here. So let's get into the impact. But there's actually another thing I noticed when I was tracking this story on Ground News. They're today's sponsor, they're a tool I used, and the news is this, that the UK has just declared that Apple and Google have got a, quote, effective duopoly. Oh,
Yeah, Apple and Google are gonna get attacked. Yay! We care about that.
companies must comply with the United Kingdom's Online Safety
I'm joking,
Act.
of course,
And this
we'll watch it.
Ground News here shows only 11 sources pick this up, and the bias split, well, 88% center coverage. Just one right-leaning outlet touching it, and 0 left-leaning sources touching it. So guess what? I kind of knew about this before it spread, before other people did. But here's where it gets interesting. Framing. Financial Times says it's a shake-up to mobile platforms. BBC goes very straightforward with the effect of duopoly, quote. CNBC, though, well, they emphasize the market power, which is way more emotive. And what I see here is that even amongst high factuality rated outlets, well, what is it? Is it a shake-up? Is it a crackdown? Is it a, quote, signal to the market? It's the same regulatory announcement, but totally different narratives and framings over whether this
You'd
is
be surprised how powerful it is just framing a conversation slightly different.
routine oversight or some sort of major confrontation, even though it's 100% high factuality ratings across all of the sources. And that's just a few of the ways the ground is awesome. You can track different stories, you can set it up for your locality, and even get the blind spot feed. So for all of this, and to use the plan that I use, which is the Vantage plan, well, you go to ground.news/Bellular, and if you go there, you get 40% off unlimited access with the Vantage plan. It's the best deal that you'll get for my subscribers, and you'll find it in the link down below. Okay, July 25th, that's the deadline, and that is when companies must comply with the United Kingdom's Online Safety Act. And this means the services they offer will have to change, all because of this new UK legislation. What's the big focus then? Well, it's about protecting under 18s through hardline verification. Essentially, that means no checkboxes, real verification. You know, the way as kids we would all click the little checkbox saying, I'm an adult, I'm totally allowed to use this service, even if we weren't. Yeah, that's no longer going to cut it from a legal perspective, and companies will be held liable. Now, this is going to apply to any website or service that's operating within the...
This is where I think UK is overstepping their bounds. They're saying all companies in scope, no matter where they are based, where servers have relevant links with the UK. This means services with a significant number of UK bases or where UK users are a target market. It doesn't make sense. Like, why are... I just don't think that's...
United Kingdom.
UK, you guys need to start fighting back, man.
And the penalty for breaking it is $25 million or 10% of global revenue, whichever one is higher. But it's not just the UK. Australia has actually got a similar law in the works. It's not taken effect yet, but it's...
And it's Australia that's really the problem. Because Australia is the one that has collective shout.
At least on the way. And even looking at the US, we can see stuff in specific states. Florida are already banning under 14s from social media. Then there's Texas. They couldn't ban under 18s from social media entirely, but both Utah and Texas now demand something else, that companies must verify users' ages at the point of using an app store. And the EU, of course, has got new laws as well, and they've even got an open source tech solution for verifying ages. So overall then, here's the thing with all of this. It doesn't matter that respected organizations oppose this. And make no mistake, many of them do. The Wikimedia Foundation is calling these a massive threat. The Electronic Frontier Foundation are also not fans of this. They say it threatens online privacy, security, and speech. But these laws are moving forward anyway. The governments don't really seem to care that much about...
They don't, because it isn't about the kids. It's about control.
Those criticisms. Now, we've already talked about this one before with Discord. If you remember, of course, the news breaking about not safe for work stuff on Discord.
I will not take a picture of myself.
And you basically needing to, like, validate your account with a facial scan.
Because I don't trust Discord to not get hacked.
Or, you know, piece of ID. Now, those systems exist. They're being tested for UK and Australian users right now, and it basically means if you want to access an adult-tagged channel or server, then you'll need a scan of your face or your ID. This hit me when I was looking at my Warcraft Guild's memes. It's like, hey, you want these memes? You gotta identify your face. Which doesn't really feel great. Now, the way this works is either your facial scan or your ID then goes to a third party. That third party will then confirm if you're allowed to access the content, and that will then...
No. I don't even want to... No.
...basically flag your account as being allowed or not. And that essentially means that for Discord, they
are going to sell my face to something and I don't want it.
Just get a black box. And what they get out of that is this user validated? Are they not validated? All of your actual personal info, that's going to the third-party provider, which of course is one that would exist in a very heavily regulated space. Or so you would hope. Anyway, after all that scanning is done, then good, you can continue as normal. And if you think an American IP address would save you, then no. Think again, because we're already seeing these roll out across basically everywhere. It essentially seems that this is the way the wind is blowing globally, and because of that, loads of companies are changing things. That means established sites are restructuring at a fundamental level, and that is why we've got to talk about Nexus mods. Nexus mods had a choice: either block content geographically for EU and UK users, or adjust the site accordingly. Of course, they chose to adjust, but so far, they haven't actually said exactly what they'll do. So we've got no confirmation of like facial scanning or documentation checking, but they will have to implement some form of meaningful check in order to be compliant. What about everyone else? Well, they're redesigning the site to help with this whole EU and UK process, and some of that's actually good. It's going to mean new content tags, new filtering options, people will be able to block things like harmful substances as a tag if they really want. Basically,
You're right,
all
Self.
of this stuff that's existing within wider adult content filtering. But on top of that filtering and categorization, the site's also getting some new tech, where basically it will be able to pick up on illegal or abusive content upon upload, or when it's posted to something like comments. Of course, that's how it'll work in theory. I'm sure there'll be false positives and false negatives, but that's at least the system that they're implementing. Now, to be clear, right, these are not new draconian rules from government. This is content that's already banned, right? Already banned on Nexus mods. Essentially, what's changed here is their incentive to robustly enforce the rules that they've already got. Where basically a lot of governments will say, all right, but a checkbox, an age checkbox with no verification, that just doesn't cut it. We all know what's going on. That's kind of what the governments will be saying. And it's okay if you've got a not allowed content policy, but if you don't enforce it, if you don't scan files, then what good is your policy? I'll leave specific thoughts about the nuts and bolts of this to you, but basically understand that it's all part of the same big old response to a lot of this new legislation, right? Better.
It's gonna get worse. It's getting worse, but it will be worse than this if this passes.
Scrutiny, better review processes, more control for users, all of that stuff. But for Nexus mods, the timing was especially noteworthy. You see, some people connected these changes to the sale of Nexus mods. Yeah, you may not know it was actually sold. It was sold to a company called Chosen, who are a growth company, which does honor.
Yeah. Nexus mods probably going to stop being used after a bit.
Actually sounded a little bit spooky. But people basically argued that this was capitulation to, the growth company and line go up. They essentially said Nexus was doing this to avoid scaring potential investors, that it wasn't actually based on any principles. But at least if you listen to the owner of Nexus, who, obviously does have a horse in this race, Dark One, he did say that basically he's kind of relieved. Because with the sale, he's glad he doesn't actually have to deal with any of this bullshit anymore. But he did say that if it was still under his ownership and control, that he would still follow the letter of the law. Because the thing is, if he didn't, he would be fined 10% of global revenue, and the only way to get around that would be to just geo-restrict Nexus mods in entire regions,
which I would rather people do.
Probably would.
Because it would punish that country for being authoritarian.
The biggest problem, though, the letter of the law isn't 100% clear to everyone, and compliance itself is in fact a risk. Here's what you need to know about the actual law. So, the Online Safety Act passed in 2023, but UK government changes delayed things, as they so often do. The implementation process was long, so it actually took forever for details to emerge, like who's affected, how are they affected. Now, to deal with this, a UK organization, Taiga, have been helping games companies navigate these sorts of laws. They've been doing this for years, so what they're trying to do is get everyone ready for the deadline, which is essentially upon us right now. So what we can do is we can try to use their understanding of this law to guide us a little bit. Now, per them, any game available in the UK counts if users can interact.
Here's the thing. Any game that tries to get my facial recognition is not a game that's going to get played. It's going to severely crush games and sites, because you'll be surprised how much people don't like extra steps to do something.
And that means user-generated content, text chat, voice chat, I guess maybe emotes, just basically anything that's user to user, which is absolutely huge in scope. This impacts so many games, so many websites. Now, it is fair to say that a lot of the requirements are already things that are common practice. That means risk assessments for under 18s accessing your game, content moderation tools, reporting tools, clear codes of conduct, basically that type of thing. Now, all of this is going...
Well, the UK is already passed, but we have a chance with the American one. If we stop the American one, there will be some form of freedom. We won't have to deal with that. Because most likely other sites and stuff will make it where the American side of things won't have to deal with these loopholes.
To need designated individuals who report to Ofcom, who are the regulator, and that means you're going to need things like timelines for removing inappropriate content. Now, a lot of this already exists. A lot of this was already being done. It's just that it's being codified, and there really is teeth behind it. And of course, the framing is, as it always is, the protection of the children. And that is where the
I need to get like a solid state drive now. It's big enough to hold all the old games I want to keep playing. If I knew someone that could like repair and like modify Nintendo DS 3DSs, I would definitely send my 3DS to them to get it fixed. And
age verification.
I did a Steam Deck yesterday.
You'll be asked for your face and your ID far more often.
So I can get all my old games on it and not have to worry about
Basically,
all this.
anything risky goes behind an age gate because that just manages risk, and that's all that these companies basically want. They just want to dodge all of this shit and have to spend as little of their money as they possibly can. So far, most requirements just involve
Oh yeah, Doom will be hit.
cataloging risks. What are the companies actually doing about those risks? Well, Ofcom have been reviewing these reports since spring. Once they're done reviewing, they'll issue some guidance, and then the fine stuff won't actually kick in until late autumn this year. So at least there's a little bit of time where, I mean, it won't just be, hey, it's the 26th of July. I would like 10% of your global revenue, please. Thank you very much. That would be a little bit hasty. Anyway, the effects are already damn clear here. With big companies, we see it in the way of compliance, but with others, we're actually just seeing people not willing to take the risk, especially, say, those who are running specialist forums. Yes, if you're running a specialist forum, you might have to deal with this. I suppose we as an organization won't have to deal with this because, like, we have our members' Discord. That's on Discord, so it's Discord's thing. But, you know, if we were to roll our own forum, I suppose we would actually have to deal with something like this. It would probably mean I'd have to have another software subscription to some company that, like, just provides compliance services. That's one of the things that happens, right? You'll have new regulatory guidelines, and then loads and loads of companies will exist to provide.
It's only slightly bipartisan. If we can start attacking one side, we can get it to where it won't pass.
Compliance services. Now, a casualty of this is Urban Dead. It ran for 19 years.
You need to call your people and tell them this isn't to protect children. It won't protect children. It'll only censor. You need to go in
There's
on
8
them.
months and 11 days. It's actually one of the longest running browser games on the internet, and the Online Safety Act has in fact killed it. Now, it was a text-based MUD.
Oh, don't
multi-user
get me started,
dungeons,
Goblin.
Something from a long time ago. Yeah, text-based MUD. It's got a cult following. People love it, but of course, because there's people there, well, the game was allowing for
Oh, did it finally go through? Does he have, like, is that a group now?
user interaction, which would mean it would be subject to this law. And that then meant that this game, which is a community-supported project, faced a fairly large dilemma. Big players like the Instagrams, the TikToks, social media in general. It's why Reddit now requires a selfie or ID to access 18+ rated subreddits. Basically, the bigger your audience, the more stringent the rules. And to meet the criteria, you needed to be filling out risk assessments and doing all of that work months ago. Of course, those companies are really big, so they can.
I don't give a damn, Stealth. And you shouldn't either. Because you know it's not protecting the kids.
Whole departments to do shit like this. And of course, it does
We blocked it once. I don't think we should allow it happen.
also include gaming. As an example, Roblox is adding age verification, plus they're going to limit chats for 13 to 17-year-olds. If you're wondering how, well, it's by forcing them to scan real-world QR codes from their friends. But you might then wonder, what about traditional platforms, the ones we use more, like, say, PSN, Xbox, Steam? Well, that's where it's bad for Steam. You see, PSN has been good for years, where they do mandate age verification for UK and Ireland users. They basically use the same tech that Discord uses. Xbox lets you make locked child accounts, but regular Microsoft account creation, it's just a CAPTCHA. There's no other limits. You can just log into Xbox directly and message people, though you would need to add them as friends first. So
Well, that's
definitely
cool,
risky
Coleman.
there. But as for Steam, well, for them, it's just a tick the Are You Over 13 box. That's it. That's all you need to create a new account. Now, there are limits for direct messaging, right? Where you can't DM people until you've spent at least $5. So in theory, right, like a debit or credit card check is verification, but Steam also lets you add cash via gift cards. And that would basically circumvent the card check verification side of things. And then, of course, there's the Steam forums, which are fully visible from the start, as are
Well, it just didn't say it doesn't count.
is verification, but Steam also lets
Well, you would still have to get a Steam gift card, which I suppose still kind of circumnavigates it if you get $5. But I feel like
you
that's
add
good enough
cash
gray
via
area.
gift cards. And that would basically circumvent the card check verification side of things. And then, of course, there's the Steam forums,
Yes, Pop. Yes.
which are fully visible from the start, as are streams. Those can obviously be full of adult content, and the adult content filters are on by default, but obviously can easily be turned off. And we all know what your Steam front page looks like if you turn off all of those filters and go to new and noteworthy. There's a lot of porn. So, does this mean that Valve and Microsoft are breaching UK law? Well, in a way, we won't really know until Ofcom publishes like a naughty list and starts threatening people for 10% of their global revenue. Or, I suppose, until these companies make the compliance changes. But make no mistake in your expectations. With the scope of these fines, these companies absolutely will be making changes. And that's because the penalties are huge. Here's the simple truth, at least how we see it. Any company that allows users to post content must reckon with these laws. And if they operate in these territories, they must comply. Because these laws are being implemented. Compliance will be enforced. Now, yeah, users hate verifying identities. I don't enjoy it. It's not fun. I mean, you'll accept it if it's something like registering to a bank, but it does feel weird if it's Discord or something innocuous. But companies are not going to risk losing 10% of their global revenue. Again, not geographical profit, no, global revenue. That's a fuckload of money, and it goes deeper than that. They also won't risk the reputational damage of being the first company fined. Now, they can lobby, they can try workarounds, but the risks are just too great. It is just like the Nexus mods, man.
That is the problem. Like, they never actually address the real. You wanna know what's hilarious? They're claiming protect the children. You wanna know what they're actually doing? They're making it more and more likely that they can force kids to start working in the mines again. Because they've already passed bills now that took away a lot of safety requirements and like no working on school nights and stuff like that. If you didn't know, that's already passed. So it's not that the kids yearn for the mines, it's the politicians yearn to put the kids in the mines.
Said, the law is the law, and these companies will and must follow the law. Because funnily enough, they're big companies, they face incentives, and they are going to follow their...
They don't even care about adults anymore. They want to put the kids in the mine because it's cheaper. Because they can pay a kid anything, but they have to pay an adult a livable wage.
incentives. And that means that your experience on these sites and with these games will change. But that's not it. You see, if you love legal stories like this, there is...
You can't fight a war without first understanding your enemy.
That's Bellular and
And in this
Penguin.
video, I will be laying collective shout bare for all to see, showing you all their words, their beliefs, and their history. In the last
I love how they're attacking Playboy. Playboy's not even really a thing anymore
48 hours,
anyways.
I have been labeled a man
Because didn't, what's his name die? Like the owner of it and stuff?
by them for daring to speak out. Since then, they have done nothing but continue to use harsh language to try to make a point. They deem everyone questioning them porn addicts,
That's bad.
pedophiles, or worse, all while presenting all anime as childlike to gear up for their next major crusade. They never once engage with a single woman who speaks out against them and seem to prefer to silence them. We start this with their website, a brief overview. They claim to be against the sexualization and exploitation of women and girls, but their focus lies in controlling businesses,
What's hilarious is they supported cuties.
walking a fine line between attacking women directly while shaming businesses for selling products. that women refuse to stop buying. They've taken glory in targeting Grand Theft Auto back in 2015. They targeted Detroit Become Human, Sword Art Online, and other games and anime. But they did a lot more than just that. Halloween costume is a bit too sexy. They want it gone. Wine bar getting a little saucy with an ad? Banned. Bookstore selling raunchy works of fiction, mostly by women for women? Bad. Playboy raising money for breast cancer charities? Hella banned. Bakery using a cheeky slogan that is fun? Oh, this is hell on earth for these people. Lip gloss companies associating with the sensual themes, the devil might as well be gazing right at you. They even present a full-grown woman as a tween or girl instead of the woman that she is in order to shame a clothing company for such
That's clearly an adult woman.
imagery. They have a treasure trove of misrepresentations and claims of sending angry emails, but I can't find a single mention of actually helping rape or abuse victims. Who is Melinda Tankard-Reist, the founder of Collective Shout? A woman with a journalism degree who somehow ended up as a bioethics advisor for a senator.
How did she get that position?
Melinda is actually hated among feminists because she seems to not understand the word. A misandrist in her presentation and actions, she is both deeply pro-life and pro-woman by claim, however has no issue banning things women actually want and do. Born in 1963, she's a 61-year-old and is dedicating her golden years to fighting fiction instead of spending time with her family. Not even a year after getting hired for some position she isn't qualified for, this
Like, she wasn't qualified for the position she got, and now she's...
senator she worked for was able to pull abortion pills from Australia in developing nations that Australia had its claws in, denying women safe abortion options even in the face of rape or incest. The rest of the world, by comparison, was using these pills. This is when actual feminists started to notice her, and she has been a thorn in women's side ever since. In 2012, Melinda
And
threatened
now she's attacking gamers.
to sue a blogger, Jennifer Wilson, for daring to speak against her. In a very tame blog post, Jennifer calls out Collective Shout for essentially slut-shaming by proxy and denying women agency to choose. This notion is important for later, and Jennifer questions the group and how they operate. How Collective Shout shames women and girls. It's with some amusement that I note Melinda Tankard-Reist's Collective Shout claims that they are not slut-shaming women and girls who want, buy, and wear clothing that the organization considers sexualizes them. They are not, they claim, targeting women and girls who wear the clothes, rather they are attacking the retailers who sell them. I suppose they are slutty retail shamers. If they attack retailers who sell the clothes of which they so strongly disapprove, they cannot help but slut-shame the women who freely choose to buy and wear them. They are telling women and girls that the clothes sexualize them, that is, makes them look like tramps and sluts available for male use and abuse. You can't have these clothes, Collective Shout says, because they make you look available, and if you won't stop buying them, we'll stop them from being sold.
How is this company gotten bigger? Okay,
Believe it
Wicked.
or not, no retailer on Earth stocks products nobody wants to buy and hopes to prosper. Clearly, somebody wants the clothing Collective Shout loves to hate. Not everybody shares their aesthetic. Maybe it's a class thing. I noticed they aren't going after David Jones and Pumpkin Patch, who service the middle class and peddle a different aesthetic from Target. What's certain is that if someone is trying to prevent stores from stocking the clothes you want because they think it's immoral, you are being judged and shamed for your choices by people who believe they know better than you and how you should look. I've never looked at a young girl and thought she looks like a tramp, or more formally, she's been sexualized, no matter what the girl is wearing.
I think people over in Australia, you need to start petitioning for this place to go down.
It's a mystery to me why anyone would choose to first perceive a child in
All I'm saying is, we need to stop this being a thing.
this way and then speak about
Not
her
this
in
particularly,
such a
but
pejorative term.
Her.
She goes on to write more, but that summarizes it nicely. She then goes on to detail a strange letter sent over by a possible lawyer and the demands. The 17th of January that year. Some thoughts on being threatened with defamation by MTR. Well, here's the thing. I've been challenging MTR for a couple of years on the drum, at On the Line Opinion and on my blog. Not once has she debated, denied, argued, or contested the points that I've made about her and the position from which she speaks. TR has a much bigger public platform than I do and far more opportunity to respond to her critics, but rather than engage in any debate at all with me over the last couple of years, she's now chosen to threaten me with a defamation suit. If she proceeds, she will financially ruin me. Demands that her lawyer, Rick Lucas of Colquhoun Murphy, the firm that successfully sued Bob Elias after his Abbott and Costello book, has insisted I must not publish in another attempt to bully, intimidate, and control me. Mr. Lucas does not want me to reveal to anybody what those demands are. The two statements I made that offended Tancred Reese, according to her lawyer's letters, are: 1. I stated she is a Baptist, which he claims in the letter she is not, and 2. That I expressed my opinion that MTR is duplicitous and deceptive about her religion. If I do not retract both those statements, apologize in format MTR's lawyers determines is sufficient for her needs, and pay for all her legal costs, even though there has been no writ served and the matter has not gone anywhere near court, they are still demanding I pay costs she has incurred to date. I will be faced with financial ruin as I defend a defamation suit. Jennifer luckily refuses to bend the knee and refuses to apologize or retract anything. But what it did do was start a conversation that led to a collective shouting at Melinda, turning her into a laughingstock. However, there are those that came to her defense in her circle. This article was written in January 25th, 2012. On Sunday, TR was also given a platform by Fairfax to complain about the level of online vilification directed at her since her legal threats to Wilson. That same day, News Limited commenter and avowed Catholic Miranda Devine weighed in to run the same line. TR was a victim. The blogger whom anti-pornography campaigner Melinda Tancred Reese has threatened with defamation has vowed not to apologize. And the Australian Sex Party, a long-term opponent of Miss Tancred Reese, has now made its own defamation threats. Miss Tancred Reese's lawyers served Jennifer Wilson, whose blog at the website No Place for Sheep was a letter demanding that Dr. Wilson retract a post that characterized Miss Tancred Reese as being hypocritical for not disclosing her religious beliefs. Dr. Wilson said the
Whoa, Becca, calm down.
Catholic senator who in deals with the Howard government in 1996 heavily restricted the availability of the abortion pill.
I'm trying to get to the port.
Sex, dolls, robots, and women hating. She has, of course, naturally blocked me. Here she is retweeting the Spinifex Press. Activist Caitlin Roper, author of Sex, Dolls, Robots, and Women Hating, has
She works for them.
Hours on forums of men, numbering in their thousands, who own replica women. Caitlin takes issue back in 2023. How has the skimpies industry survived #MeToo? Apparently, Me Too wasn't about servicing rape victims and giving them a platform to tell their story. No, it was actually about shutting down bars and sex clubs. Interesting. She also takes issue back in 2021. Want to call out sexual harassment? Start with your own Chance Change-led shopping centers hosting sexist and pornified images of essentially naked women. Unwanted exposure to sexual and pornographic imagery is sexual harassment. This just in, treating women as sex objects doesn't suddenly become feminist act just because the photographer is a woman. So she takes issue with a woman's ability to choose. If I, a female photographer, go to my female friend who's interested in a called Beyond Patriarchal Sex, and, well, their most recent one, has a lot of irony in it.
To you. Real empowerment isn't about being desirable, it's about having agency, it's about the freedom to say no, the freedom to speak out, to take up space, to stand with others fighting justice.
Real empowerment isn't about desirability, it's about agency, the freedom to speak out. Funny, because Collective Shout wants to take away the agency of women to choose based on their views of sex, abortion, and fiction. And the moment a woman disagrees with them, this is a morality group that rebranded from Catholic morals to child exploitation because people listen with harsher language involved. This video goes on to make the claims, oh, the science is out there, to back them up. But she promotes another book written by someone else within Collective Shout while making outlandish claims that 12-year-olds are getting easy access to adult games.
we need to. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. 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 This needs to stop.
That's a parenting problem, not an adult to adult market.
It's making me very viscerally angry that a few like crazy women are being allowed to do this and no one's stopping them. Do I think kids should be taught sexual education? Yes. But the second you teach them that, they will start to be curious. Oh no. Whatever shall we do? They're allowed to be curious. That's being a child. All the way up until like 19, I was curious about stuff. You're not gonna stop people from being curious. I'm still kind of curious. If you don't teach them it early, they're in trouble. Because they might do something that causes an issue. No, I'm not kidding. But anyways.
All of their videos and interviews are like this. Just internet blog.
And all their sources are themselves. Can we, like, please, people, like, open your eyes?
With no real worth to the world saying, trust me, bro, even though we've already had plenty of studies on media saying the opposite is true. But we all know that this isn't about facts. This is just angry women doing angry woman things. For 30 years.
Doesn't matter, Alan. You're supposed to ignore that, Alan. They use that as a shield. And most people won't call you that, Alan. It'll just be them. I promise you. You're looking at 0.00001% of people that call you that. Which they probably were gonna call you that anyways because you dislike what they talk about.
Moving on from Caitlin, this is Coralie Allison, the operation manager, and some of her tweets over the years.
Japan bans possession of child pornography, but not excludes manga or anime.
Because those aren't real women! Makes me so angry. Makes me so angry. The disingenuousness of it. Oh god, they don't ban fakeness. Doesn't matter if they have backing. Notice that she's got 3 retweets. And that's probably from her own people. There's probably 4 people in that organization that actually believe in all this. They are not for kids. They are not for helping people that would perpetrate by fixing them. No. They want to create more of it. They don't care. They want money. It makes me so angry that they would say this stuff and act like they're being like holy and stuff, and they're not. They're being quite literally evil.
She's upset about just manga and anime existing, mind you. She's not upset about the content of it because she doesn't engage with the content of it. She's upset over something she doesn't understand. Mirroring the previous woman.
And this time, they allowed her to wear a skirt, although still topless, because apparently using women's bodies to sell products works, right? Looks like they haven't read the research that shows.
Where did you read that? Because sex sells. There's a reason that that is a statement. That is a fact of life. Sex sells. It doesn't do much better, but it does do better. And certain things, like, ugh, it makes me so angry. It's so disingenuous. Like, sex is the backbone of the internet, and if we allow all this censorship of these censorship groups to thrive, we won't have internet anymore.
Ads with sexual objective and naked Florence. I think It Depends could have gotten the message across without zooming in on a girl's half-naked body.
How is she half naked? All I see is her legs. Please explain to me how this is half naked. I see her legs. It's like she's wearing a swimsuit. What's the difference here? No, look, she has a shirt. Like, she clearly has a shirt.
Keep in mind, the target audience for Depends is older women. No girls were involved in this.
objectified near-naked female bodies with bags for heads. Is she naked holding a blanket? A dress? Who really cares? Her purpose is to act sultry so we can sell more perfume. And no cosmetic counter would be complete without a product endorsing sexual harassment. Send nudes, lip tint with a picture of bare backside. Because that's just what young girls need. Pressure to send naked selfies. Why was Harper's Bazaar Australia magazine with naked Miranda Kerr on cover? Sex to sell it. Gasp. I asked the staff at Meijer why a picture of naked women with perfume in a crotch was displayed.
You mean the individual at the counter making minimum wage who has never talked to a representative from the actual company in their life, who isn't paid enough to deal with your bullshit? I like how there's no follow-up. Also, none of them have any engagement on any of their tweets in a sexualized way.
It's the cumulative total of using naked and or sexualized women's bodies in marketing.
Bit of fan service. All anime, all of TV. However, there's not a peep trying to get payment processors to sever ties with Hollywood, where actual rape and pedophilia run rampant behind the cameras. These are the people that they support.
They don't care about children. Like, that's proof enough. They don't care that Hollywood has that rampant in the background. They're more interested in stopping your games, and stopping your anime, and stopping your manga. And censoring you. Because how dare you like something? It sends me over the edge. I'm just gonna say it. It actually really makes me angry.
Follow, retweet, reference. The first one is the funniest one, retweeting something that sounded good to them, but it comes from someone who may actually have a disdain for women. And they don't retract the tweet. They cannot admit that they are wrong, because the moment that they do, well, that's bad for them, because what else are they wrong about? This was the individual that I used in a previous video. He actually commented on their tweet that he isn't even a gamer and shouldn't be their Exhibit A. Then says common woman L. I would agree here, because this is the ultimate L.
What's hilarious is he has more likes here, so they tried to hit back at him. Someone that supports him tried to hit back. And he still got more likes than the hit back.
But they still keep those words up despite the trollish nature of them. Melinda retweeted Danny, who is on her crusade of labeling everything anime as childlike. Melinda
All I'm saying is, if you touch any of my childhood favorites, Fruit Basket, Oran Host Club, Full Metal Alchemist, because they look childlike, I'll be radicalized then.
also retweets Marissa, but Marissa's too stupid to realize that all nudity bad, and genuinely thinks her gooning, Baldur's Gate, is good, which in reality, Collective Shout wants this gone too, because remember, all nudity bad, all porn degrading, all fiction.
They're claiming that they won't attack Baldur's Gate 3 and stuff like that. I promise you, if you allow this, that is the next game gone. The second they have a foothold, they'll take it.
And must be sanitized. Jolie, a supporter of Coralie, says the quiet part out loud.
Jolie says, "Yep, can't wait for the marketing to get clever and create ads that don't involve sexualized sexism to sell. That being said, the best way to stop this is to not buy their stuff."
And yet, females do. Not women in this case. And yes, I will look into the words chosen and the disdain that this person has for the fact that women dare to have agency. Which brings me to the next article reposted by Caitlin Roper talking about how empowerment has become a cover for doing whatever the hell you like. And anyone complaining is oppressive. Niggly little things such as unequal pay and female genitalia mutilation and unbelievably abortion remains an actual issue in the US elections in 2016. But never has it been easier for a woman to feel empowered. So apparently, genital mutilation is just something to be mildly uncomfortable with. The Kardashian tweeted a topless selfie last month. She claimed that she was empowered by her sexuality, and thus, via the media of her iPhone and her breasts, she was striving to encourage the same empowerment for girls and women all over the world. Anyone who queried this philosophy was shouted down as an out-of-date loser who encouraged body shaming. So maybe the easiest way to deal with the kinds of arguments raised by choice feminism is to support an Australian group attempting to influence American markets and companies across the globe by going to nervous payment, skirted government altogether by taking advantage of the duopoly of Visa and MasterCard, but also PayPal and others. If this is allowed to continue, essentially these women have found a life hack of true power. These companies don't want to make business risks and have government come down on them, so it's easier for them to just give in.
This is a pretty good video. This is a very good video. It's because they don't have enough people. This girl has 10 times their audience. They enjoy her stuff because she speaks the truth and stuff, and she does a very good job, I would say. I would say maybe you don't need the little black spots in your videos, but she does a very good job. Okay, that's it for reacts. I'm sufficiently angry. Anyway, consume the water, then call. Is that Luigi? That is Luigi. Hi, Luigi. We'll watch this tomorrow, but I'm gonna send that video and the other video block on we'll get, and hopefully we'll have that out tomorrow.